Welcome back. We have UFC Kansas City tomorrow, Gary versus Protez, and I'm going to be picking every fight on this card. Starting at the early prelims, we have Chelsea Chandler, Jocelyn Edwards. I'm going with Jocelyn Edwards because she has somewhat impressed me over her last one. It was Tamira's Vidal, I think that was the opponent, and she submitted her in round 3. She does miss weight quite a bit, though, Jocelyn Edwards. But she made it close with, what was her name, Eileen Perez. It was a competitive fight, and Chelsea Chandler in her last fight with Yana Santos just didn't do all that much. So I'm going to go with Jocelyn Edwards. Maybe I could see a finish, honestly. Maybe a submission in round 2 or something. And then we have Timmy Kwamba and Roberto Romero. Timmy Kwamba's last fight was against Lucas Almeida, I believe. He did get dropped a few times in that fight, but he was landing more, I'm pretty sure, but it still went to Almeida. And I think before that he fought, I forget, it was featherweight, some guy, but and then Roberto Romero, in his last fight, it was against David Onama, and he did pretty impressive. He did pretty well in that fight, chewed up the legs early, dropped him. He got dropped at the end of the first round, but he got a little cocky, and then last 2 rounds he lost. So we gave that fight a 30-27 to Onama, but I thought he won the first round. And honestly, it's a hard thing to do coming in MSG on short notice against David Onama and do that, have a pretty good performance. That's pretty good, honestly. And I think he's going to beat Timmy Kwamba because that's just what I think he's going to win. I think he has more ability to impose his will, and he's going to get it done. And I really can't remember the last fight Timmy Kwamba had. I'm going to check it. No, it was Lucas Almeida, but there was somebody else. I forget. It was Bellagioki. That's who it was. And it was because Bellagioki was pretty hyped up, but then Bellagioki got guillotined by Chris Duncan, but then we have Jacqueline Amorim versus Polyana Viana. Jacqueline Amorim is a -800 favorite. That is very interesting. I think she's going to win the fight, though, but -800, that's a little crazy. It's just Polyana Viana, I don't know if she's fighting to win, to be honest. She does have a fan base. I think she has like 2 million followers on Instagram or something crazy. And in her last fight, I'm pretty sure that was Jillian Robertson. She kind of just got taken down with ease and eventually got finished. So can't see much about that. And Jacqueline Amorim, she's actually, listen, I don't know if she's beating Jillian Robertson, but she beat Vanessa Demopoulos. And then she beat Corey McKenna and Montserrat Ruiz. So she's putting wins together, at least. I think I'm going to trust her to win this fight. Probably by decision. 29-28, I'm going to say. And we have Malcolm Wellmaker and Cameron Simon. I thought about this. I thought early on Cameron Simon was probably going to win. He has the UFC experience, but he's taken a few losses in a row. I mean, Malcolm Wellmaker, he's pretty dangerous. Yeah, it's his debut, so he's coming from the Contender Series, but I'm sure he'll know. I'm sure he won't fight under pressure. And yeah, Cameron Simon, his last fight was, I think, Peyton Talbot, where that was a pretty bad loss, and before that it was Christian Rodriguez who took his O. Malcolm Wellmaker, power. I don't know if he's going to finish this fight, but I feel like he can get a decision. So I'm going to go Wellmaker by decision. And then Damon Blackshear and Alateng. I'm going to go with Blackshear. Alateng, he hasn't been very active. Like, maybe twice a year at most from Alateng. I can't tell you who we fought last, so let me just check that. I think it was, I'm checking right now, it was Clayton Rodriguez. He won that fight, but I don't know if it's too great of a win. Then he lost to Chris Gutierrez, and then he beat Chad Anheliger. I mean, that's not the best win, but I mean, at least he's been winning some. But Damon Blackshear, I think he's going to win this fight. He Kimura'd Cody Gibson in his last fight, which was pretty recent, but he wasn't doing very well on the feet. He was not doing well on the feet in that fight. Like, he was kind of getting pieced up. And then Cody Gibson was shooting takedowns, which was not the best idea because Blackshear is a pretty good submission. He has a pretty good submission guy. Pretty good submission game. Can't speak. And then before that, I think it was against... it was Cody Stamen, that's his name. Rear naked, he was winning that fight. Every second of the fight that happened. Flying kneed him at one point, got rear naked. Before that, he did get knocked out in, I think it was 18 seconds by Montel Jackson, so it's a little worrying. It's a little worrying for him on the feet, but I see him winning this fight probably by, I'm going to say he gets another sub. Maybe in round 1, honestly. And then we have Chris Gutierrez, who we talked about not too long ago, taking on John Castaneda. I think Gutierrez is going to win this fight. I'm a little worried because in his last fight, he beat Quang Lee. That was a really competitive fight. And then we saw Wang Jiao catch Quang Lee, so that was a very close fight, honestly. Could have went to Lee. And then Castaneda, he lost to Daniel Marcos in his last fight, I'm pretty sure it was. I mean, didn't have too much success, but we know how good Marcos is. Pretty good fighter, and I think this is just going to be a really boring decision from Chris Gutierrez with the leg kicks really doing the work. That's what I'm going to say. And we have Evan Elder and Gage Young. So originally this was supposed to be Evan Elder versus Ahmed Hassanzadeh. And then Hassanzadeh, he did something bad involving a minor. So pretty sure he's behind bars now, actually. Then we got Gage Young filling in. But I'm still going to go with Evan Elder. He's a pretty solid fighter, Evan Elder. He beat Darius Flowers in his last fight, I'm pretty sure that was. And got the arm triangle in round 2, I think. That was a pretty good one. And then he found some success against Nazim Sadikov. He dropped him at one point, kind of flash knockdown, but he's a solid fighter. And Gage Young, I haven't seen much of him, so hard to tell, but I'm going to say Evan Elder. He's going to get this one done by, I'm going to say 30-27. Okay, then we have Matt Schnell versus Jimmy Flick. I don't know. This is kind of risky because I'm going with Matt Schnell. It's risky because sometimes he just can get knocked out by a gust of wind. It's worrying if Jimmy Flick lands a clean shot. But Matt Schnell was honestly taking some clean punches from Cody Durden. But then he kind of just shot a takedown and got ninja choked. So not the best IQ there in that last moment of the fight. But I'm going to say he beats Jimmy Flick. I don't know how. I'm going to say he gets it done by decision. I don't know if he gets a finish in this fight. I don't see a knockout, maybe a submission. But I'm just going to say decision for Matt Schnell. Then we have Ikram Aliskerov, this is the main card by the way, versus Andre Muniz. So Aliskerov versus Muniz. I'm going with Ikram here. You know, he just got knocked out by Robert Whittaker, but Whittaker is very good. We know that. There's levels to this. And Muniz, I forget his last fight. It might have been against the Iron Turtle. And before that, I think that was a TKO loss to Paul Craig, if I'm not mistaken. Which, I mean, Paul Craig is good, but sometimes he doesn't really perform. And Ikram, before the Whittaker fight, it was Warley Alves, but he completely dominated that fight. Got a great TKO. Got a great TKO. So, I'm going to say he outstrikes Andre Muniz in this fight. I know Muniz is a little bit taller by an inch, 6'1" to 6 foot. And Muniz, he has a 78-inch reach versus Ikram's 76-inch reach. It's not a crazy advantage, but I'm going to say Ikram wins this fight with the kicks and maybe gets it to the ground. But he honestly hasn't really shot many takedowns in the UFC, so maybe we'll see something new, especially because he's coming off a knockout loss, so I see him mixing it up, probably getting a decision, or I could see TKO maybe later in the fight, rounds 2 or 3. Then we have Randy Brown and Nicholas Dalby. I'm going to go with Randy Brown to win this fight because, well, I think his range is going to cause a lot of problems for Dalby, which arguably could have beaten Renat Fakhretdinov in his last fight. Before that, I'm pretty sure it was the Gabriel Bonfim win he got. Broke him. But I don't think Randy Brown is really going to rush things. He's probably just going to fight his fight of being on the outside and maybe ripping some body shots, front kicks, deeps to body, straight punches. I'm going to say Randy Brown probably wins this fight and maybe picks apart Nicholas Dalby. Okay, and then we have Michel Pereira versus Abus Magomedov. Okay, Michel Pereira, he had the worst cardio I've ever seen in that last fight with Anthony Hernandez. He hurt him and then just gassed out and got humiliated. Yeah, that was the most frustrating fight I've ever seen. It's up there. And then Abus in his last fight was versus Bruno Ferreira. Got an arm triangle in round 3. It's Ferreira who has been submitting people, so that's honestly pretty good. And I thought he was going to gas in that fight, but honestly, the cardio held up. I just know that if I pick Michel Pereira to gas out and I go with Abus to probably win this fight and take over in the later rounds, which is a possibility. I mean, Bruno Ferreira, he really hurt Abus. I'm going to say Michel Pereira gets it done in the first. And if he doesn't, then Abus is going to win this fight, most likely. And then, moving on, we have Giga Chikadze and David Onama. I'm going to say Giga Chikadze wins this fight. David Onama is a minus 175 favorite. I don't see why. His last win was against Roberto Romero, short notice. 8-4 opponent, who I know I'm picking to win his fight now, but he got dropped in that fight, David Onama. If you're going to the rankings after a performance like that where you had full preparation and the other guy didn't, I think Giga Chikadze is going to finish him. I really do. I think he's going to break down David Onama for leg kicks because David Onama doesn't have a very strong base and he is a little chinny. I could see, honestly, the leg kicks going for Giga Chikadze and maybe him whipping up a head kick. The Arnold Allen fight was very close. He arguably could have gotten round 2, which would have won him the fight. I saw it for Allen, but it was very close. I think he's going to pick apart David Onama and finish him. I think he is, and his grappling has come a long way. I know he's training with Beneil Dariush. She's helping him out with that, so... Listen, I think David Onama, he's an entertaining fighter, and I like watching him fight, but I think Giga Chikadze is going to get this one done. Co-main event, we have Anthony Smith and Zhang Minyang. Oh, God. I think it's going to happen again. I just think Anthony Smith is going to get TKO'd in round 1. I really do. I know it's his last fight. This is going to be his last fight. It's against Zhang Minyang, who's a killer. And then I don't really think this is going to make him train harder. I'm just thinking he's going to go in, have some fun maybe, try and have some fun. But I think Zhang Minyang is probably going to catch him with maybe... I could just see maybe a left hook coming off the top from Zhang Minyang. It's going to drop Anthony Smith, and Smith just covers up and the fight ends. That's how I see this fight going. I mean, if this goes to the ground, Zhang Minyang doesn't have much of a chance. We haven't seen Zhang Minyang get tested in grappling, but he's pretty sturdy, and I think he's going to defend the takedowns of Anthony Smith. Yeah, I'm going with Zhang Minyang by KO in the first round. Then we have the main event, Ian Machado, Gary, and Carlos Prates. Man, I'm gonna feel so stupid for getting this one wrong. I don't know, I'm just going back and forth in my head right now. Prates, he has a serious chance of catching me and Gary. Because Gary, I feel like his confidence is going to be his detriment, but also his biggest weapon. And Shavkat fight, I feel like because it's Shavkat who was supposed to be the most dangerous guy in the division, and Ian just took him to a really boring 5-round fight and almost submitted him. Well, it wasn't that close, but there was a moment in the 5th where he took Shavkat's back and he had the rear naked on the jaw. And to be honest, in the striking realm, he didn't really do that well. He didn't find much success. He kind of got some oblique kicks, but not much. And Ian Gary hasn't been very dominant in the striking. I know he can mix it up, and that's what he did with MVP, kind of just laid on him and hugged him. But he did try and finish the fight, got some rear naked attempts. He did not do anything on the feet, but he at least showed some submission ability. He hasn't got one, but I feel like if he does get this to the ground, Carlos Prates, he's going to have a disadvantage. I don't know if he's going to get submitted, though, so it comes down to the later rounds. If it gets there, Gary's probably going to win the fight, but my prediction, I think I'm going to go with Carlos Prates to win this fight by KO or a TKO. And then I think round 1, Gary's going to he's going to put some pressure on Prates, try and get some leg kicks, and might shoot out the gates. I think Prates is probably going to be able to defend those takedowns. Maybe Gary gets one at the end of the first. But then I think Ian's going to be too confident in round 2, and he's going to get hit by a straight left, which is going to send him down. And the fight is going to get stopped. And it might be an early stoppage. That's my exact prediction for this fight. So, I hope you enjoyed. I know I'm going to try to get these predictions out earlier next time. Trust me. I promise I'm going to do that. But anyway, that's going to be the end of the video, and goodbye.